And I am Gretchen Zellick, and we are Donuts and Pie Fitness.
Yep. So it's been really fun, a great adventure, finding different people that are thinking like us and really, like, we had this idea of living enthusiastically. And then as soon as you start looking around you, there are so many people that are living enthusiastically. They're living their lives. And so when Gretchen talked about you, and I was listening to your podcast, and I just was like, another one. So anyway, I want to introduce you before I get all gushy about you. We're speaking to Ana Caban, and she's one of America's leading Pilates instructors. You have, for a couple decades, gained a reputation of being a very strong, healthy fitness industry expert, and you've got a very distinctive style. You tend to stand out, which is why so many people probably want to interview you or have you on their shows. You're on Martha Stewart, is that right? Martha Stewart Radio. You've sold over 25. Yeah, you've sold $25 million dollars worth of award-winning bilingual fitness DVDs and streaming workouts, right? Yes. And you have been on in a lot of different media outlets, Health and Fitness, Pilates Style, O Magazine, Univision, Fox, NBC. I mean, you're all over the place. That's so exciting. You have got to have worked really hard to get there. So congratulations for that. You started your new podcast, which is really how I got introduced to you. And it's called Your Inspired Life. And during that, you did that during the start of the COVID pandemic. And so what motivated you? Like, when you were sitting at home, I'm sure everybody was thinking of different things to do in their life, but what was the thing that motivated you to take on a challenge like that?
Well, I actually had a friend, an acquaintance, a girl I met once at a bar in New York. We became friends. We keep in touch. And she said, I'm going to create a podcast for mommies, because she's a mother of 4. And I'd love for you to be a guest. And I said, well, that sounds great, but why don't we chat first to kind of see what it's about and see if it's the right fit. So we got on the phone and we talked for, I don't know, a good 20 minutes. And it was just in March, the beginning of this COVID uncertainty. I don't even know if schools were closed yet or, what was going on, but it was mid-March. And so she was telling me, I'm so ready for this. I researched what platform I'm going to do it on. And I've studied so much about podcasting, basically, that I'm ready for this. And I think it's going to be a great place for moms to come. They get answers about being a mom and just seeing other moms that are struggling with what they're struggling, including perhaps the distance learning, right? And I said, I love it. It sounds great. And I said, now I feel like I should do a podcast too. But it was just a silly thought that I said. And then a few days later, I started walking the dog. Life is changing instantly around me. And I'm walking the dog more than usual because he's getting kind of bananas with all the Amazon deliveries and stuff. Because now there's more delivery people coming in front of my bay windows here. And he's like barking. So I take him on more walks. And I'm on walks and I'm thinking, I'm going to start listening to podcasts because at least I could learn something or be entertained as I walk the dog versus hearing the same playlist I always listen to. And I really got into podcasts. And I was like, I need to do a podcast. I definitely have a little more time than I used to. I mean, let's be honest, guys. We all do, right? We're not driving to work and driving home or dropping the kids at school. So we've gained at least 30 minutes or an hour, maybe more. So I thought, what a great time to inspire others while I have a little extra time and while people need it most, I think. And that's kind of what it became. I thought, who could I interview and what could this be about? I actually polled my followers on what should we call it? Would you listen? And that's how I came up with Your Inspired Life.
It's great.
And so were there some challenges that you faced in that process? Was there something that was like, I don't know if I can really get through with this? And was there a big challenge?
No, Annie, it wasn't, for me, it wasn't much of a challenge because I've had a couple of podcasts years ago. I'm talking 7-8 years ago. And although the technology has changed, it was pretty easy to figure out where I could host it, what the platforms people are using now are, how to find a good mic and things like that. So that wasn't really hard. And I don't know if you've ever read this book. It's by Gay Hendricks and it's called The Big Leap. And in this book, he talks about, do you know what? Gretchen's nodding. Okay. I remember, this is all I remember from the book. I mean, I enjoyed the book, but I remember zone of genius. He talks about when you're in your zone, using your skill set, doing something you're passionate about and good at, you're in your zone of genius. And I believe that when the minute I made a commitment to do the podcast, it kind of was something that used the skills that I have ready. I know the technology. I told you I've done this before, so that wasn't really scary. I have many people I can reach out to be guests. So for me, it wasn't daunting because it happened to align with my zone of genius.
Right. Well, that's exciting that you recognize that too.
Yeah.
That's, I think, half the battle. A lot of people probably have that but don't recognize it.
Correct.
Right?
Oh, we have so many skills that we forget about as well.
Right.
That's true. So Anna and I were talking the other day, and it turns out that we have a lot in common. We actually grew up in very small towns next to one another, and then as soon as we could, we moved to New York City, which I think is so funny. These small town girls. So it was it's funny how your paths, people have so much in common, and then
Right.
we are talking. So you've inspired women for the last 2 decades about how to put their health and their wellness first, which is not always an easy thing to do. So many women nowadays feel like they have so much more to give, but they can't quite figure out how to do it. And I know that part of your podcast is talking about how women can regain control of their lives, how they can get more confident and live a more purpose-driven life. So can you give us one little hint about how someone could do that in a little short sentence,
Yes, absolutely. I would say that I have, on my website, I actually have this available, so I'll share it with you, but it's really 4 habits to igniting your purpose-driven life, and it's really simple. The first thing is to listen to your heart. What are you passionate about? What are you good at? What brings you joy? And bring more of that into your life, right? Because that will help you feel positive, feel good. The second thing is to cultivate your inner circle. And what I mean is, we are an average of the 6 people that we spend the most time with. So let's be careful not to surround ourselves with negative people, right? We don't want the Debbie Downer around us. Surround yourself with people that bring you up and make your life better, that adds something to your life, not take something away. I think that really will help with your overall outlook on life. And the third one is to give back. And that could be as simple as it could be something like volunteering, right, which is more involved and now probably harder to do. It could be something as simple as giving one thing away a day, and that could be time. That could be putting a dime in someone's parking meter, right? Somehow helping someone else out, but finding a way to give back, because karmically it's great, but also it just feels good. It feels good to help someone. It feels good to share with someone. So those are simple tips. And the last one I would say is to think positive thoughts and really believe those thoughts. I really believe in positive affirmations, and I have a whole episode on my podcast about gratitude. And in that I use a gratitude app. It's literally just called Gratitude from the Play Store. In the app, you can set timers. And so I get alerts at the times that I choose to remind me to be grateful for something and to also say a positive affirmation. So I write in there, and it may give me a prompt saying, who are you thankful for today? Or who has done something nice for you? And then you could say, today I'm happy and grateful for so-and-so in my life and all the kind things they do. And the other little place is the affirmations, where you say, I am ... and you fill in what that is. I am an inspiring and positive woman. I am a great mother, whatever it is for you on that day. And for me, I do it in the morning, so it's a really nice way to set the tone for the day, right? You could do it anytime you want. So for me, those are simple tips. And the last one, I'll give you a bonus tip to ignite your purpose-driven life. Move your body. And you guys can speak to this, right? Exercise. And maybe exercise is a bad word, so maybe not exercise, but move your body. Movement heals. It makes you feel good. It raises your endorphins. It brings rosy pink cheeks to your face. So there's really nothing to lose with moving your body.
Right. It's that mind-body connection. I love those.
Absolutely.
Great.
Right. As a matter of fact, I have, there was a group of women, and we decided to give each other a challenge to do something out of our comfort zone that we've never done for 30 days, but we had to come up with it on our own, whatever that was. And I came up with, for 30 days, I would give something to somebody, meaning a compliment or do an act of kindness.
Exactly.
But when you do that every day, like when you're conscious of it every day, you are so aware of the people around you and who might be sad or who might be you just are constantly looking for that person to help you on that day. Because if you get to, it's like those people that try to do 10,000 steps. If you get to the end of the day and you haven't done it yet, you're like, oh, I got to go out and do it. And it just made me so much more conscious. It was really a great exercise. And so when you started saying that, I thought, yeah, that is really a great tip. It really
Being mindful.
Yeah, it actually, because it takes the focus off of yourself, and especially if you're not in a great place, well, then forget about yourself for a minute and care about someone else. I have a friend named Cammie Walker who wrote a book called 29 Gifts. And the idea was that she was suffering from MS and feeling woe is me and life is hard and my body doesn't feel good. And it was suggested to her to give away one thing a day, Annie, for 29 days. Right? And so she did that and saw how her life changed radically and became a more positive spin because it took the focus off of herself. So I love that you said that. It's super powerful.
Right.
It really works. And it could be something super simple, like just making a quick call, I'm thinking about you. It could, she used to stand in the parking lot of the supermarket with roses and hand them out.
Or like this one lady,
it's amazing.
Or for me one day, it was just this woman was just not looking a little disheveled. And I said, man, you have a beautiful smile. And she goes, really? And I know she'll think of that for a while. And she really did. But she just looked disheveled, And I thought, but she has a beautiful smile. So it was nice. It was good. It made me feel good. It made her feel good. It was good.
That's great.
All right. All right. We can talk about that all day. So we ask this of everybody, and we'd like to know what your prescription is for aging enthusiastically.
It's going to sound a little bit like what I said earlier, but I'm going to call it the 4 M's. And the first one is mindset. It's having a positive mindset, right? We are what we think, and thoughts become things. So we have a choice. We have a lot of power actually to make a choice to think of positive things. So watch your mindset for one. Number 2, motivation. Why do you want this great life? Or what's your motivation? What is it that gets you up in the morning? And keep that in the front of your mind. Perhaps you want to live enthusiastically because you want to be able to roll around with your grandchildren on the floor. So if that is your why, that's going to drive you much more than thinking, well, I should just stay fit because, it's important to stay fit and move your body as you get older. That's not such a great selling point there. But playing with grandchildren has a lot more power to it. So figure out what your why is or what your motivation is. And the next one would be to move your body. Movement, as I said, movement heals. That could be walking around the block. That could be walking the dog. That could be socially distanced walking with a friend. That could be a workout class. The good news is there are so many workouts online right now. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, the companies that are doing great are like Beachbody or anyone that has a Zoom account that's selling their workouts online. It's really a great time to find something maybe fun and new that you hadn't thought about doing before. I just started taking bar classes online, doing the Beachbody bar blend, they call it. And I was a ballerina, but I haven't touched a ballet bar in 30 years, like seriously. However, I'm doing this, and I'll tell you my little tip, don't tell Beachbody. I broadcast the Beachbody workout on my computer and I screen share with my best friends on the East Coast, Gretchen in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, whatever. And we work out together every day at 1:30 Pacific. So we did high intensity interval trainings for the first 4 months. And this week we're starting bar workouts 4 days a week. So it's like 20 minutes. I show up, girls, because I'm the one that's broadcasting. I'm the maestro here. So I show up because I turn on the computer and make sure they can see, and we work out together, and then we chat afterwards. So it's actually really fun and really easy to do.
That's a great idea, because that's a lot of people complain about doing Zoom is that they're not doing it with a group of people they know. It's hard to share it like that. So
exactly. But when you share it like that,
to everybody else.
And I see them in the corner. I see them grunting and sweating. It's not just me that's going, oh my gosh, my bottom hurts, I'm not alone, which makes it much more fun. And the last one is momentum. Once you get into this, I have a positive mindset, I'm moving my body, I know why I'm motivated. There's a momentum that innately builds. It's like a snowball that grows mass and grows power. And so if you can kind of keep that going, there's no stopping you.
That's a really good point. Boy, that was Anna. Thank you so much for speaking with us today. I think I'm going to get right on that podcast because it's exactly what everybody needs, especially at this point. in the world, it could be life-changing. I think it's wonderful. And to learn more about Ana, you can go to her. We're going to have it all. We'll have it included in the graphics here, but go to her website, which is, anacaban.com. You're at Ana Caban on Instagram and Facebook. You are a Latina keynote speaker, and your YouTube is Ana Caban, motivational speaker and fitness expert.
And so thank you so much for joining us today. It's we'd like you, everybody that's joining and watching this video, to visit donutsandpiefitness.com and to follow us on Instagram at Donuts and Pie, watch our videos on YouTube, and that's at Donuts and Pie Fitness. And don't forget to like us. And we just hope we're going to get so many more of these videos that everybody will be inspired to have their inspired life and be enthusiastic.
I know, talk about motivating. This is wonderful. So one more thing, we'd love to hear from all of you watching. What is your prescription for aging enthusiastically? Ana, thank you so much for speaking with us today. And we look forward to watching your podcast. So let's keep in touch.
It was really nice to meet you.
Thanks.
It was great to meet you.
Bye.